Welcome my broskis. Today we are talking about Warhammer 40k Boltgun 2. And somehow, they actually made it even crunchier than the first game. And I honestly don't know how they pulled that off, because Boltgun 1 already felt fantastic to play. But this? Everything hits harder. The weapons, they feel crisper. The animations, they feel smoother, and blasting through enemies is just ridiculously satisfying. Or maybe I just can't remember how good the first one actually was. Boltgun 2 is once again developed by Roach Digital, and the second you start playing, you instantly recognize it as Boltgun. The DNA is all there. It still feels like that fast, old-school boomer shooter, but they have freshened things up in a bunch of smart ways, instead of just giving us more of the same, which I at first was afraid that they were just going to do. Now, the biggest change right away is that we actually get to play as two different characters in the demo. In the first game, we only had one, so this immediately makes things feel a little bit fresher. Now, first off, we got the Space Marine, who's pretty much exactly what you'd expect. He's back with the chainsword, and yes, you can still stick it into enemies and rev it up for even more damage. It's every bit as brutal as it should be. He's also carrying his trusty grenade, which is still incredibly useful whenever things get a little too crowded. Then you got the second character, who is much faster and more agile. Instead of just a chainsword, she carries a regular sword, letting you slash through enemies much quicker. She can charge into enemies with it, has a special ability where she launches herself forward with the blade pointed straight ahead, carving through everything in her path. And instead of throwing grenades, she drops timed bombs that explodes in a couple of seconds. Now, what is even cooler is that it's not just their abilities that are different, their weapons are too. The Space Marine starts with his beautiful bolt gun and then gets his shotgun, which still feels absolutely incredible. Meanwhile, the female character starts with his rapid fire pistol instead of the classic bolt gun, and she also gets a charged crossbow that absolutely slaps. You charge it for just a moment, fire, and it'll punch straight through tougher enemies from a distance. Now that alone completely changes how you approach combat. With the Space Marine, you're constantly pushing forward, getting right into the middle of everything with the shotgun and chainsword. With the second character, you naturally play a little more carefully, picking off enemies with the crossbow before diving in when the time is right. Now, I don't know exactly how many weapons differ between the two characters later on, because the higher tier weapons in the demo seemed pretty similar during the demo itself, but honestly, every single weapon I got my hands on felt freaking amazing. Just take a look at this. Now, one of my biggest complaints with Boltgun 1 was actually the level design. It loved locking you inside arenas, kill everything, door opens, move on, then do it all over again with very little variation to it. Now, Boltgun 2 still does this, but nowhere near as much. The demo, it has two levels. One takes place in this jungle environment, while the other is set inside a frozen base. In the jungle level, I only remember getting locked into one arena, and honestly, it was awesome. Massive waves of enemies pouring in from everywhere. Complete chaos, but it actually felt exciting instead of stopping the pacing. Now, the frozen level does it a couple more times, maybe 2 or 3 times, but each encounter feels different. One arena throws just a handful of really dangerous enemies at you in waves, as well as introducing a brand new set of enemies while doing it. Another, it floods the place with absolute hordes. But the most important thing is that you're never stuck there forever. You clear the fight, the pace picks back up, and you're moving again, which is not how it felt in Boltgun 1. And that alone just makes such a huge difference in how much fun you have with the game. The game flows so much better than the first one. Those arena moments now feel like like highlights instead of interruptions, and I think that's going to make a massive difference over a full campaign. Now, another thing they've actually improved is the secrets. In Boltgun 1, they almost didn't feel like secrets. You basically walked forward and the game would go, "Congratulations, you found another secret." Well, thanks, I guess. This time, they're actually hidden. You need to pay attention, explore a little more, and when you finally discover one, it actually feels rewarding instead of accidental. So after playing this demo, I honestly came away way more impressed than I expected. Looking at the trailers beforehand, I was thinking, yeah, this kinda looks like Boltgun 1.5, maybe just like a big DLC or something like that. But nope, it genuinely feels like a proper sequel. They kept everything that made the original fun, listened to the feedback people had, and improved almost every area without losing what made Boltgun special in the first place. And that's exactly what I was hoping for. All hail the crunchy Warhammer Boomer shooter. Let's freaking go. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you later in the next one. Over and out.